Entitled to Death is the sophomore full length from Oakland, California's Larvae, who are let's call them a death doom metal band with some black metal influences to the guitar work. Let's not push the black inside of this band at all. I think uh, a lot of the time, black metal guitar techniques and the sort of slop of it all, as it translates to United States black metal, loses sight of actual black metal composition. And here we just get what is essentially hints of darker melody interspersed into death doom metal, which is not so much focused around doom metal riffs as it is more in line with touches of earlier Paradise Lost, Amorphous, and even a bit of Bolt Thrower. Naturally, all of this collects together into what I consider a standard set by Hooded Menace with their first several albums, up until about 2012, where that became a different thing. So, a good way of twisting that knife a little bit deeper is touching upon some of the earlier Rune Magic records. And anyway, what we'll do is we'll get into a track here, and then I can sort of try to unpack a lot of the references that I just threw at you. So the big thing that we found in Larvae's earlier releases was an indefinite melodic intent expressed in a sort of messy voice that was interested in conveying death metal in a melodic way that was still probably more informed by maybe atmospheric sludge and those sorts of ticks and tricks that are still rooted in kind of punk movement and don't quite have the finesse of actual death metal. So as the skills of the guitarist and main composer have improved over time and tightened up in the way that is a little bit more expected in Death Doom, the style has sort of revealed itself as something somewhere between like touches of the Corellian Isthmus and then a little bit of desecrecy without sounding entirely like Finnish death metal. So what it creates is a death metal album that is sort of indefinite in style, that is uh, intentionally melodic most of the time, led by a lot of strong leads, but also it runs off in strange tangents that, for me, speak to a lot of classic underground death metal, but maybe wouldn't impress someone who listened to Hooded Menace necessarily in that sense, because those are much more refined classic heavy metal touches on the guitar work. So here we get something that's a little bit punkish in spirit, a little bit out of the ordinary. And I thought that was pretty interesting as I dug into it and um, picked at some of the details here. So it was the kind of thing where I didn't. It's tough to remember any one given part of this record, but you won't forget that the sort of melodic feeling that it creates in approximating some of the dynamics of Bolt Thrower, and that can be applied to any number of groups in the peripheral since then. So it does get a high recommendation for me. I think it's a little bit of an interesting outlier for people who are interested in death metal with a bit of a doomed touch to it. I think the themes of this album are pretty interesting in terms of talking. It's there's a bit of subject matter that I touch upon in the review a little bit. Of course, the band could explain themselves better. So not too much to say about this one. I think it's maybe more of the acquired taste type of thing, or maybe you're just interested in something a little bit different. So check that out and see if that's your kind of thing. And there's plenty of extra detail in the written review for you to check out.